Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 168. Each week we meet to answer the SEO questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+. With us tonight we have David Rozam. Maher, please stay. David Rozam is an SEO copywriter, or an SEO of 12 years standing, but with 30 years experience as a copywriter. You can find David at writingforseo.org. Federico Sasso is architect of Visual SEO Studio. It's a platform for SEO audits, which looks similar to Microsoft's Visual Studio. You can find more about it on visual-seo.com. Masataki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net. He's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense and also the Google Plus Help community. Maher Bhagat is a human resources dynamo and social media queen from Delhi in India. And senior SEO manager for Zendesk.com in the USA is Micah Fisher-Kirchner. And Tim Capper, proud to call himself an SEO, a conversion rate optimization specialist from near Corby in the USA. No, sorry, United Kingdom. Tim is also a Google top contributor on the Google My Business forum. Okay, we have a few questions tonight, I think about 12, and a couple of news items to deal with. Let's look at the first one. Uh-oh, something's gone wrong. Let me just grab another link here. This was a question from Tom Hebert. It's titled "The Colourful Style of the Google Search Engine Results Page." Tom said, "Hi all, I created a website, 55isbetter.com. It's a real estate site that focuses on specific retirement communities. I'm finding that when searching for one of our featured communities in Google, the search terms do not always appear in bold in the Google results." And he gives an example and an image which can be seen in the SEO Questions community on Google+. I couldn't replicate the image, but maybe you guys could. Anyone help me with this one? I'll try and fix this prompter.
Well, I couldn't replicate the image, but I tried certain other terms that goes with this, and at least from what I found when kind of diving into that, is sometimes it would show up sometimes, so it would be bolded. One thing you should consider is to add in a meta description. He has an open graph description, so I would suggest putting that in there. That might provide a more consistent likelihood of it showing up. My guess is because it's pulling in from the page that Google's doing its kind of best it can to figure out which of the terms to highlight and which ones not to. So it looks like there's a few little bugs on that. So I would suggest putting in a meta description, and that should work on a more consistent basis for him.
Okay, anybody else? All right, let's call that a wrap for this one, and let's move on to the next. It's a question from Sasha Pascal van Opzeeland on changing URL structure. Sasha said, "Hi guys, I'm new to this group, so I guess I'll just kick off with a question. Our webmaster recently changed the URL structure of our blog posts. Old URLs had the date of the post in them. New ones do not have this date. However, we couldn't push the change through entirely because it would affect all the older posts as well, through which they'd lose their social share. Now we have an in-between situation in which one blog post is accessible by two URLs, one with date, one without. However, only the old URLs are added to our index. What I wonder is whether we are at risk of being penalised by Google for duplicate content, or is it not a problem since Google only takes into account the URLs that are added to the index?"
Well, the way you described it with the dates in the so, I mean, that sounds like WordPress. WordPress, if you change your format, should automatically 301 redirect everything to the new URL, which obviously, if it hasn't done, something's balked somewhere along the line. The other option would be to, you know, 301 the old to the new version. I suppose maybe via a plugin, or the other one is to canonicalize the older version to the newer version. So you've kind of got three options there. But you want to handle those, certainly. I mean, I don't know what the amount is. If it's a couple of hundred, I don't foresee some kind of anything coming along. But they may be filtered, you know, out of search results. But if you had 10,000 of these, then I would certainly look at, you know, certainly looking at redirecting or canonicalizing them.
Okay. Anybody else? Federico, your mic was just muted then because there was a bit of static coming down the line. But if you would like to pop in and speak at any time, feel free to unmute yourself. All right, let's. Oh, I forgot to tweet this. And that's done. Let's move on to the next. This one is a question from Devdata Basu. It's titled "Listing Negative Keywords to Enhance Relevant Organic Traffic." Is there any way to list negative keywords to enhance relative organic traffic? I wonder if this is an AdWords question. She said, though the keyword is not so important nowadays, but as my platform is e-commerce, so I hardly have space for good content. Moreover, whatever phrase people write is keywords. Kindly help.
Yeah, I don't quite understand this. You know, for example, let's say your page is about pink fluffy elephants. Okay.
No.
You don't, like, let's say there was a way of targeting a negative keyword. Now, a negative keyword for pink fluffy elephant page would be green fluffy elephants, because they someone wants green, not pink, and vice versa. So why would you even want to leverage or rank your pink fluffy elephants for green fluffy elephants? Because the user one, let's say, you know, the minute they click on, it's like, hey, no, I want pink, not green. I'm gone. Bye. See you later. So the whole sort of point behind that is, do you know what I mean? If that's what I'm thinking you're talking about. Now, you may be sort of talking about something completely different.
I suspect, if I may leap in, that this is trying to parallel AdWords, and I think the concept that DevData has got is that by listing negative keywords as you do in AdWords, then you won't get that kind of traffic to your site, and from that there's the idea that the targeting of the site will be sharper, and you'll get a better quality amount of a better quality set of traffic on it. Now, I think the answer is no. Organic is not the same as AdWords. It's not a kind of free AdWords. So no, you can't sharpen up what you're doing. The rules for organic are that you have to put some good content on there. Now, you know, you will get better results if you do put some more good content on your e-commerce site. And if your e-commerce platform doesn't allow you to put some decent content on there, then, well, the answer is move platform if you're not getting the results you're looking for. At the very least, if you can put you might be able to get away with putting a blog on there and trying to get some good content on that way. But then you'll find that your traffic, your organic traffic, will be going to your blog pages and not to your sales pages. Now, you would be, you know, I would want my traffic coming to the sales pages rather than one click away. So, yeah, if I'm right in interpreting the question, I would say there's no real way round that need for good content, despite you having an e-commerce site. That's, you know, that's the way it is, I'm afraid, and I would seriously think about moving platform. That's me finished.
Thank you, David. Anybody else? All right, DevData, I hope that's been useful to you. Okay, oh, look, I've forgotten to do that again. Let's do that. Okay, let's move on to the next. This one is from Storm Designs. Storm Design said, help me, I have no idea how to write keyword and SEO description. I'm new to SEO and search engine optimization, and I have no idea how to write keyword SEO description for my website, and hope that I would be able to find someone that might be able to help me out, please. Well, you've come to the right place, Storm Designs. We'd be glad to give you the basics on that. Who's first?
I'll take it if you like. Is this just, well, there are two ways of reading this. There's the way it's written, which is keep an SEO description with keywords in it, or we're talking about keyword tags and description tags as two separate things, meta tags. They both occur in the HTML, of course, but they're not shown on the page. when you're looking at it with the browser. The keywords tag, forget it. It's the meta keywords tag. It's not looked at anymore. So your SEO description should be round about 160 characters long, and should describe what's going on the page, what the page content is about, and it should be a mild sell, shall we say, enough to tickle the interest of someone who sees it if it turns up on the Google SERPs. There's not to say that it will turn up on the Google SERPs. Sometimes Google will extract parts of the content and display that underneath. Now, your SEO description, your description tag, if that's what you mean by SEO description, shouldn't be stuffed with keywords. Forget the idea here of splatting keywords everywhere. It's not what you do. It's not what you do anywhere. It's certainly not what you do here. Now, it's okay to include the keyword description in those 160 characters. Sorry, the keyword you're targeting. But don't worry if you can't. It's not really used as a ranking factor. So if your keyword helps you describe what's on the page, then great, put it in, but don't sweat about it. So your description should be written in normal sentences or a normal sentence. It should be normal language. So as I say, don't pile the keywords in and end up with keyword gibberish. I think that's about covered. I'm sure that I'm sure I've not covered everything. I'm sure I might have gone down a rabbit hole somewhere, and I'm sure someone else will dig me out of it if I have.
No, I think that was pretty good. When you're trying to learn something, it never hurts to repeat anything. Would somebody else like to give their version of events to Storm Design?
One of the most important things for me is to understand the kind of platform you would be using right now, whether you're using WordPress, Drupal, or any other platforms. Because if you're using HTML, you have to do it manually. But if you're using any other platform, you can just get a plugin and get the thing done because you don't have to do manually a lot of work. But that's pretty much it from me.
Okay, anybody else? All right, moving on to the next. We are flying through these guys. This one is from the US Truck Depot, and it's titled "How Does a Keyword Work?" The US Truck Depot said, "Hi Googlers, we're Googlers now, guys." It must have been something that happened since Tim Capper became a top contributor. We must be, yeah. All right. Anyway, he said, "Hi, Googlers." I like that, man. I like that. He said, "So we are new to the online community. We don't sell anything. We're actually just trying to attract dealers or sellers to contact us. So we're focused on building a good reputation online to be seen. We are getting a lot of SEO tips and wondering if someone could briefly tell us how keywords work. Do we actually have to assign keywords to Google? Many thanks in advance."
Well, Assigning keywords in advance is usually a bit more towards the paid search side, where you're bidding on specific keywords. When it comes to the organic side, or SEO, in this area, you don't assign. You're essentially kind of developing pages that you're essentially trying to target what the user should be able to go to when they come to the site and what they should expect to see. You're essentially creating a good user experience that is recognized by both the humans when they come to your page, as well as for robots to recognize what the page is about. So putting the specific, for example, keywords in the title tag and in your content and having people link to this page, all of that together provides those signals that this page is going to be a good user experience for that specific type of query. Usually you can kind of break it down between a few different areas of your content should be written around that type of keyword or topic. You should have links that are around from sites that are related to that topic. And then you want to make sure from a technical standpoint or structural standpoint that you've built it so that you can showcase the value within your own website of why that page should be ranking for that keyword or topic. That's kind of a way to look at it.
Thank you, Micah. Can another add something to that?
Yeah, I can jump in, put my toes in the water, whatever. It seems to me that US Truck Depot has been writing content as it occurs to them, what they think might appeal to their audience of dealers and sellers, and hoping this will work. You can think of a keyword or key phrase as being the bridge between between US Truck Depot's website and their dealers or sellers that they're trying to attract. And what I mean by that is that functionally, on one level, a key phrase is something that a searcher puts into a search. In other words, I might search on, I don't know, I think of a brand of a US truck. Let's say Dodge truck dealer in, I don't know, Miami. Now, truck dealer in Miami could be your key phrase, and you could find out how important, how many people are actually looking on that by checking up on something like Google key phrase researcher or whatever it's called these days in the AdWords, or you could go on to something like Google Suggest or keywordtool.io, and you could find out how many searches are being made on those, and you could work out whether it's actually worth writing some content around that. So you've got you may find that keyword whatever I said, truck dealer Miami was quite popular, or if you were to put in truck dealer and then look at all the geographical locations, all the towns, all the cities that come up, and you can see which ones are popular. And you could write some content that is about truck dealers in Miami or Boise or wherever. Excuse me, and that would give you more of a steer as to whether your content is likely to be attractive to people and likely to get them to your site to read that content and to start understanding what you are, how you do it, whether they will be able to start understanding whether they should think of you as having a good reputation online. Are you the sort of person, the sort of outfit who would be attractive for dealers or sellers to work with? So the key word is also the focus of your content strategy. Your content strategy being what you're going to put on your website and understanding why you're putting it on your website. Now, there's a lot more I can say about this, but it's a half a day or a full day workshop, unfortunately. I think I'm going to stop, or else I'm quite likely to be here for the next 4 hours at least. But I hope that adds something to your question about how keywords work.
Excellent. Thank you, David. Before we move on, I'd like to point out also that there were some good answers given from our forum heroes who answered the questions on the SEO Questions community through the week. I'm looking at you, Federico Sasso, and Dave Elliott also answered. Ahmed Kumar also answered on this particular one. But we thank you very much for your efforts. It's really appreciated. All right, moving on to the next. And it's a question from Randy Milanovic. It's titled Undo the Move Domain Tool. Randy said, a few years back, I changed domains for my site. At that time, I used the Move Domain tool in Google Webmaster Tools, now known as the Google Search Console, to redirect traffic and links from the original domain to the new one. The question, can I change it back and separate the two domains so that I can redeploy the original on a related topic or /service? And if I were to do so, would it be a smart or not so smart SEO move? Very interesting. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be, why it would not be a bad move. I couldn't see any harm in it. What do you guys think?
The potential concern I have, let's see. You're taking your site and resplitting it, and you're basically splitting it in half. So there's a likelihood that you're going to lose rankings on basically both domains. Well, on the initial domain that essentially is not ranking, because you've merged the two together. It might take a little bit of time for the new one to be recognized as separate, but doesn't necessarily mean bad. You know, if the other domain is a small one that only had a few links, I wouldn't have any concerns. It's like, it's a small thing. Yeah, that's fine. But if you're talking that both have an even split of links going into those sites, now you're talking about essentially cutting your link value to the main site in half. So the value of that domain potentially can drop quite a lot. That's probably the biggest issue I might see. That said, if you didn't really see much happen when you merge the two together in any large positive way, then maybe it's not a big deal. But those are kind of some of the things that come to my mind that I get a little worried about.
Yep, fair enough.
It's an interesting question, though. Not one I've seen before.
Yep. Anybody else?
If I might chime in.
Yes, please go in, Federico.
Yeah, I would pose myself the question whether it is a smart or not so smart SEO move. Because if you ask yourself the question, should I do it? And if he wants to do it, probably has other reason to do it. So it's non-SEO related. So go ahead. Let's respond to some basic other need. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's they have some strategic planning, but they have to do it. Go ahead. But there are 301 directs to handle the thing.
Yeah, excellent. All right, anybody else? Right, I'll just tweet that one. And let's look at the next. This one is from Hardeel Singh. And I noticed that Hardeel simultaneously asked this very same question on the SEO Hangout panel. And if you do read or listen to the follow-up on this, Hardeel, please just post on one. It's not that we're concerned that we'll give a different answer, but it's just better not to duplicate. Anyway, Hardeel said we have one website that has a large number of pages, but only a few which are indexed by Google. So we created multiple sitemaps and submitted them in the Google Search Console. And now there are 32 sitemap files, each file having 40,000 pages. It's been 2 weeks now, but the number of indexed pages is not increasing. Everything is fine in Google Webmaster Tools, or at least Google Search Console, and there is no error. Is there any other way to get indexing for a large number of pages in Google quickly?
No, not really. Internal, check your internal link structure, obviously. Content published on, a very popular blog, which would have an internal link pointing to another, deep page that will get that one found faster. You can use your fetch and render, which is obviously time consuming, but you could pick your sort of top line categories on that, and then you can submit all, which might help those ones deeper down get found faster. But no, there's no sort of instant magic way of getting 10,000 indexed overnight.
Yes, fair enough. Anybody else? Yeah, the only other thing that I thought of was that I think it's 50K. You can have 50K URLs, but if you and I noticed that you've got 40K in your list of sitemaps. When you have so many, depending on the length of the URL and so on, and what information you're including in your sitemaps, you might be exceeding the 10 meg limit. I don't know. I mean, there is supposedly a 10 megabyte limit on a sitemap file. I don't know whether Googlebot just refuses the sitemap file altogether, or whether it only processes enough to equal 10 meg, or whether it just goes ahead and does it despite the limit. But that might be something, particularly if you do have so many. And one way you can make a sitemap in less size is to strip out some of the information, like revisit and the data that puts out the freshness of the page, or when it's update frequency and so on, because robots pay no attention to that stuff. The sitemap, as long as you have the URLs in the sitemap and it's properly formatted, that's all you should need. All right. Meher Bagat in the chat tells me that Google will take a 50 megabyte file. Well, that's fair. Well, that crosses out my suggestion anyway. Anybody else before we move on? All right. And Anna Minhaver, and I'm just looking at the title, and already my eyes are glazing over. I think this is beyond me. Google Analytics results do not match the MixPanel ones. Anna said, "Hi everyone, I'm having issues tracking conversions on my Google Analytics account. I'm currently using two ways of measuring the amount of software installs taking place on my website. MixPanel tracks each download the moment it has started, and Analytics should be measuring the amount of software installs by counting the amount of visits to our install landing page. It's a page confirming that the download has started. Analytics is counting less than half of those installations. What I did so far, I confirmed that we are using the Universal Analytics Tracker, placed the tracker immediately above the closing tag. It was originally in the middle of that section, but for the past few days it's just above the bit as recommended on the Google documentation, and also confirmed a goal is set for all the similar landing pages where that goal can be tracked. So far, the Google Tag Manager keeps telling me code found outside of tag for more than 2 days now, and the analytics results do not match the MixPanel ones. Additionally, I noticed that the Google Tag Manager hasn't reported any issue on any other website page, regardless of how the tracker has been placed inside the section. Does anyone have any advice on it? Is it supposed to take a long time for analytics to reflect the changes made on the website? Thanks, Anna. Well, that's a question.
Okay, well, the results generally between different analytics solutions will not match each other. This primarily is due to the fact that they use separate type of ways of tracking, how they're how they're placed in the page, when they fire, what their ways of tracking might be, at what time period do they consider a visit. Yeah, it's gonna vary. So that part is to kind of just be expected. Now, how large of a variance can as well again matter. I'm not very familiar with MixPanel in particular. I'm more familiar with kind of other softwares, other tools, but things that I've seen generally that can occur have been differences of the tag being placed at the top of the page versus the bottom of the page. If you're comparing a JavaScript analytics against a server-side one, so the server-side is going to include a lot more bots, just because most bots don't run JavaScript, and so the numbers for Google Analytics would be lower. Goal tracking in GA can be very particular. For the most part, if you've set up your goals, if somebody tries to do more than one goal per session, you usually only get one goal. So there's just a lot of quirks in terms of you really have to kind of dive in and understand a lot of the details and those differences of how they track, what the tracking is, when those tracking systems stop, because that's where you're going to find out where that difference is coming from. So rough story short, depends on the type of tracking system, and those differences can range from JavaScript versus non-JavaScript, how it's placed in the code, how they do the tracking, and what their internal definitions are, as well as any general limitations of tracking like from traffic down to the goal level of how they implement that said limitations.
Oops, I'm sorry I was muted. Thank you, Micah. Anybody else? William Rock has joined us from Kansas.
Hey guys. Fantastic answer to that question, by the way, Micah.
Yeah. No problem.
Anybody else with a response for Anna? It was such a great question. It deserves a couple of responses, I guess.
I can't add anything to what Micah just said.
All right, let's move on to the next. I hope I'm sure that that was a great answer, Micah. All right, so let's look at this one. Oh, this was nothing. This was just this wasn't meant to be included. This was something that I posted, wondering why our SEO Questions community wasn't appearing on just bear with me. I just have to fix this one. I can't reach on my control panel to mute that one. Can somebody else do that for me? Yep, thank you. Okay. We have an issue which happens from time to time, that for the keyword SEO on a search on Google, our community doesn't show up. Yeah, anyway. No comments? No. All right.
Is it for our community or for your community? Is that the question you're asking, or is it for the not showing up for SEO?
Yeah, it was our community. It seems to get locked out because other of our communities, like SEO jobs and SEO tools, they show up, and SEO news shows up, but SEO questions, which should show up, doesn't.
And how recent has that change been? Have you noticed?
Well, it's historically it's happened almost since the beginning of communities on Google Plus.
Interesting. Yeah. Curious on, because basically I think I've seen a couple of different changes with communities just kind of recently within the last 2 weeks, I would say, and changing the how the ranking affects across the board. But at the same time, I'm wondering about these guys that are following you, are they also seeing SEO or not seeing SEO? Depending on if they're connected to the community, are they going to have that, I guess, not biased result, but the personalized result, right?
No, when we test, we always use an anonymous browser.
Okay.
No, I don't think it's that. It's not important, but it's just a wonder. I'd hope that it wasn't done deliberately, but you never know. All right. Here's a question from Federico Sasso, who's joined us on the panel tonight. It's titled, "Should I hide the download button for mobile layouts?" Federico wrote, I should get you to read this, Federico. Federico wrote, "Hi guys, gals, a dumb question for you. My website's main goal is the download of a setup for a desktop application. The site uses responsive design to address mobile users. Should I hide the download button for mobile layouts?" That's interesting. Let's see, Jorg Barth in the community said, additionally to the download button, you could add a send the download link as mail button, because there will be circumstances where somebody will be looking at your site on the way home and might want to send that link to their email so they can download it later on their desktop when they get home.
I was about to mention the same. I think if you're using, if you have the layout on mobile, you can redirect users via emails or email list to subscribe, and you can remind them to use the application whenever they are on their desktop or via email, or maybe tweet about it or get social with it. Something that encourages more users to look into it.
Anybody else? Thank you, Maher. I see Micah is shaking his head. All right, Federico, would you like me to keep trying for another response, or are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think you gave a very good suggestion indeed, and never thought about it. And also about being social. Okay, I'll give it a try. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's tweet that one and move on to the next. This one is from Giselle de Leon. Giselle said, "Hi guys, is there any way that we can check the history or cache of an address? Like if the address has been suspended or used multiple times on GMB. What's GMB stand for, guys?"
That should probably Google My Business, so it's Tim's domain.
Oh yeah. Like if the address has been suspended or used multiple times on a GMB submission. Thanks.
So it must be a physical address rather than a web address.
Google My Business. Tim Capper runs Google My Business, doesn't he?
No, mate. No. Look, your physical address, I mean, unless someone was like a massive serial spammer, then your physical address shouldn't be blacklisted. Because ultimately you would be you would have a different name for the business that had been attached before, and you would have a different telephone number. The website would be different, linking all obviously different information, different business name. The only thing that would be potentially the same there would be the address, unless, I mean, I'm talking serial spam here. Then no, it shouldn't be a problem. But no, there is no way to check a history of that. The only way you're going to know is if, for example, you created the page, you verified it, and probably about 7 days later, all of a sudden you'll get a red banner popping up saying this page has been disabled due to spam. But I don't foresee an address being blacklisted if you had a different business name, different phone number, and obviously a different website than what was attached to the previously removed business pages.
Good point. I think the other thing to add maybe to it would be also to look at those marketing companies that are constantly going out and putting together people's business pages for them, and it's not actually a verified listing, and there might be too many of those in the listing. I don't know if that's part of the guy's question too, but don't know of any caching check though.
Well, there are a lot of websites that does the Wayback Machine kind of thing, that you can check the encached website on those platforms, but not for. I don't think that's for GMB. That's not there for GMB.
Yeah, look, the only the only way you can find something that's still indexed, something that was removed like 5 years ago, you ain't going to find ever. If it was removed and it's still indexed, so I'm talking like a month here, the way you would find it would be in inverted commas, search for the exact business address, physical address, in inverted commas, so that you're only targeting that specific address. Then after that, use site:+.google.com. Any pages, including removed pages, 404, will then appear as in the search result. Now, I don't know if I want to tell you publicly how to check a cached version of a page. If you find a page like that, come to me, ping me a thing, and I'll show you, and I will get the cached version for you. But that's my little trick, and it's one of those little things that I kind of want to keep to myself. So sorry, public, but you ain't getting that little trick out of me. Ping me with the URL if you find one that's concerned you, whether it be 4.0 forward or it's 4.0 forward, or you know, just looks like a ghost page. Ghost page is when it's still live, but it's become unverified and it's kind of got a weird looking. You'll see the interface. It looks like a business page, but it's been stripped almost bare. So if you find any of those that are still attached or still indexed with that specific address, and you want to know what was on it, ping me the URL and I can show you. But I think I'm going to keep that little trick up my sleeve. Sorry.
Jim has ways.
No, it's just adding stuff to the URL, you know, but it's just a little trick I like to keep. It makes things look like magic. Especially in the forums when you go to someone who says, never did anything, and you go, well, what about that? What about that? Well, what about that? Well, what about that? Ah, where did you find that? Ha ha.
Just wait till you get into green room. We'll be after you.
I'm not sure how to do it exactly, but I think it might have something to do with the KGB parameter.
Yeah, whatever, mate. Whatever.
All right, moving on from Giselle's question, and we have another. Leo B asks about referral traffic from editmysite.com. Spam, hacking, or what? It said it goes to, looks like some sort of an editor. I just wonder whether somebody has tried to or used an editor on his site. I don't know how Editmysite works, but maybe it's used to pull a copy, pull the source code down, and edit it on the local machine, and perhaps save it on the local machine for placement somewhere else. Does anybody know more than that?
I'm actually doing a couple of Google searches on it right now. I haven't heard of anything from Editmysite, but I've had a couple oddball referral pieces come into some of my analytics. Normally that's caused by a bot, or even, you know, you can see that in your referral stuff for even SEMrush when it actually does a crawl. So I'm wondering if it's basically just a, when I did edit my site, it got nothing yet, so I was going to go back and check. Couple Google searches on that one.
If you go on to editmysite.com, you get a window that says log in to edit your site. So it would, the conclusion that someone has set this up with the questioner's domain in it, may be one that we want to examine, because it does seem to be some way of editing a site.
I ain't going to try and log in, mate. Oh, feel free. Log in. After you.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just waiting for one of you suckers to do it.
Well, they wouldn't be able to affect the actual site that they're attempting to edit, but
No, they wouldn't be. I mean, unless that was like some secret backdoor to some dark net hacking forum or something where you can get like 50 hackers around the world to try and get into a site. But what I'm saying, you don't know what is in that site, you know. But the whole thing with referral spam is, at the end of the day, they want you to then go, "Whoa, what's that?" and then go and visit it. Boom, they just got a click. You know, they got a hit. They might get another count on their ads counter. I've never seen one to go to a page like that, but there's probably something behind that door.
Yeah, I'm not so sure it's like usual referral spam, because their URL is 2 subdomains below the actual editmysite.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, unless he tries to reach out to them and find out who was that, you know, could it? The thing is, I'm not going to go and see what Editmysite is. Now, could it have been someone within the organization, within the business, that logged into something because they found they got a free something or other, and that they could a trial of something? I mean, is it a legit site? Does it do something? Was someone in the marketing department trying something on it? Is it do you know what I mean? Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I'm not going into that site because I don't know what it is.
Well, and I posted something in the actual chat on the side here, and that looks like it goes back to our community, but it's got the same question there. There's about a couple comments in there of other people talking about using the filter, but again, going back to that subdomain that Jim pointed out, that's kind of looks a little fishy. Normally, you would see you know, the name of the actual domain, and that's it. You know, that's kind of what's hitting you in referrals. But so far, everything I keep seeing is everything's talking about referral, just, you know, putting together filters in your analytics to be able to filter that out. But at the same time, I've had those filters don't seem to work for me every time I put them in the analytics. So you know, something buttons.com, I think that's our favorite one on all the sites.
Okay, well, look, Leo B, I hope that's been helpful. I mean, it could be that this is just a means. I mean, it's anything that can be seen on the internet. If it can be seen, it has to be downloaded first to see it. So every time a site is viewed, the source code of the pages is downloaded. And once the source code is downloaded, they can actually edit those files on the fly and save them, save as, and put them on another site. And I can imagine a use that people would put that to. And then maybe that's what's happening here. He might have a good site that people are trying to copy. Anyway, let's move on to. Oh, I think we're on. We've done the last of our questions, and now, yes, that's it. Well done, guys. We've answered all of the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google Plus this week, and now we move on to our weekly SEO news roundup. We're recording the history of SEO 1 week at a time. Each week topics are posted in the SEO news community, and once a week on our Hangouts, after we've answered the questions, we cover these articles. You're welcome to post your own articles, and we'll discuss them. You can even join us on the panel and discuss them with us. First one was posted by Edwin Yonk. It's titled "Google Broke the Internet," and it's related to Penguin and the fear that's been propagated by Penguin to the point where people are just afraid to link. They just don't link. And I even said one of my clients, who's a hosting-only client, took on someone, and some idiot, I just noticed today, has no-followed almost all of their internal links. You know, just the stupidity of it just hits me in the face. Anyway, Jenny Halaz wrote this article, and we all know Jenny. She's been on SEO Questions, and we hope that she comes back soon. She's much prettier than William Rock and much smarter than Tim Capper. Anyway, I'm glad we're muted. So Penguin won't roll out into. I mean, my opinion, and it's only a mug's opinion, but my view is that Penguin walked out hand in hand with Matt Cutts. I think Penguin was a product of the Matt Cutts era, and we won't see another algorithm like Penguin again. It was badly conceived and poorly executed. A colossal fail. It damaged a lot of innocent sites, and really didn't achieve what it was supposed to. And literally, Jenny's take is that Google broke the internet, and they did. It was just fear-mongering, and now, of course, the consequences for Google is that a very important ranking factor for them is PageRank, and without links, PageRank is no longer valid. So they shot themselves in the foot. Any comments on this? No? Okay, I'll just tweet. Yeah, you go on, go ahead.
Well, I think they're basically unintended consequences behind it. When Penguin first rolled out, probably not the first time, maybe the second time at the end of the first year. I mean, basically the world looked at this and said, okay, so penalty for unnatural. Okay, great. It's then sites are forced to take time out to fix it up. And the unintended consequences behind it was the rise of negative SEO. There are hundreds and hundreds of companies out there, businesses, people, individuals out there now that sell these services. Of course, a large site is not going to need to really worry about that because Google looks at patterns over time. But for your local builder up the road, who's got a 5-page site that all of a sudden, month on month, because you just go to Fiverr or SEO Clerks and just spend a $5 a month getting a Xenu X link sleuth blast on your competitor's site for a $5 you can quite easily create the pattern, and after about 6 months, Penguin runs again and destroys your little competitor. Now, I know people go, yeah, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, but it's quite easy. It's the large sites with a good reputation that are the ones which cost way too much in time and effort to create a negative SEO campaign. But for the little guy, it's a very real problem, and it's out there on a daily basis now because basically Google never thought this through. you know, the simple solution would have been like any other search engine, just to devalue its source straight away when it looked to be like an unnatural link. Straight away, just devalue it. Doesn't come into any play whatsoever. And that way, you know, webmasters would have known if they worked or hadn't worked, and they could go and sit and spend thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands every month with SEO clerks and black hat link builders and God knows whoever else and whatever automated systems. And because it's devalued at source, the minute the link is discovered, you know, you just let them throw away the money. It would have been, you know, far better. It would have just, you know, it just would have sort of kept an even kill. And anyway, it's out there now. The damage is done. Gary Ely says the next one's going to run in the new year. We'll have to wait and see what that's going to happen with. But in the last couple of days, there has been a slew of manual penalties going out there. Specifically, it looks like for spam, but we aren't entirely sure yet. But it looks to be, if you've got some external, basically if you've got external links pointing from your site outwards, you're getting penalized. Those are very easy to get over with. Just change to nofollow or remove them, spit spot, and the recon is done. But that looks like they nailed a private blog network somewhere along the line. The only other time that they've issued mass spam manual penalties is when they took down some private blog networks. So I'm assuming this recent, in the last couple of days, is because they found a private blog network. In the old days, Matt would have hinted at it by now, so we would have known that it was a private blog network that got taken down, but nobody's talking this time, so we can only just go based upon past patterns. As for Penguin, we'll have to wait and see in the new year. Will the disavow tool eventually be made to work? I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, I think they should look at things which, you know, I mean, this is Google for flip's sake. You know, you should be 40 steps ahead of the next thing that you do. But that was my initial sort of understanding of Google. But now, as time goes on, it seems to be release something and then try and fix the bugs as they occur. I don't get it. I don't get why it happens. But you know, if you can afford the brightest minds in the face of the planet, you should be even factoring into your equations unintended consequences.
Exactly.
Yeah. We'll wait till the new year and we'll see what happens.
Sorry. Yeah. Well said, Tim. All right. Let's check our next news item. And this one was a share by Edwin Yonker of an original share from Tim Capper on Ryanair launches legal action against Google and Edreams. It's not about ad space, it's about inflated prices and selling non-existent seats. And there was an announcement on YouTube. You can get the link off the SEO News community. And there's also on the SEO News community a graphic, which I'll try and put on the screen, but it really isn't big enough. But I'll try and make it larger. Comments on this, please, Tim, since you wrote the article?
I never wrote the article, but the video is good. It's basically Ryanair explaining their legal proceedings against Google and Edreams. So, and in the video, you know, Ryanair goes to explain, look, hey, we don't, you know, we don't care about ads. You know, we don't care about the ads. What the problem here is we've repeatedly spoken to Edreams, because when a person buys a Ryanair ticket through Edreams, one, the price is inflated. When they happen to, let's say, do an add-on to the ticket, because Ryanair's a sort of a base price, and then for everything you have to do is like a little add-on. So you can get a flight for like 10 quid, but if you wanted to take luggage, it's another £5. If you wanted a meal, it's another £5. If you know what I mean. So they're a very base level. You can get as cheap as chips if you just want to sit on the plane and fly there, and then you add on. So, but what's been happening with Edreams is you'll buy your ticket, and when they do the add-ons, Edreams seems to inflate those, and 9 times out of the 10, every complaint that Ryanair tends to have is through an Edreams booking, because the add-on for the luggage isn't forwarded to Ryanair, the add-on for the meal forwarded, or the speedy boarding pass, or the this pass, or the extra luggage allowance, and all that kind of stuff. So they've been moaning about that, and saying, look, you know, you shouldn't be, this is a problem. We don't mind you selling ad space, but when you're selling ad space that we have warned you repeatedly about, that these people are, I'm not going to say scammers, but are 90% of our yearly, sort of 90% of our yearly complaints that we have are based upon these guys selling our tickets. That there's a problem here. So we don't mind you selling ad space. Someone else sell it to everyone. We don't care. The point is, these particular ones are causing a serious harm to our brand. And, you know, if you're selling that ad space, you also have a sort of a due diligence to check whether these guys are legit or not, you know. And that's the problem. So it's been a long time coming. They've spoken to Edreams a long time. They've spoken to Google, saying, listen, this is what's happening. These are our complaints. Look at them. Blah 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 blah. Nobody's done anything. So Ryanair's eventually, like a year and a bit later, said, you know, yeah, right, fine, we'll go to court then. They've got to protect their brand. You know, if 90% of all of their complaints are coming to them via a booking through Edreams, then there's a problem, and they need to protect their from these cowboys.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, we're at the end of tonight's session. I think we've covered all of the questions, covered all of the news items. We're at the thank you for watching stage, and we have people watching us, and we thank you for that. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again. And again, thank you very much.